evening and welcome to Epilepsy.
Today!
Here we are, Margot,
Back again!
Yeah, feels like we never left.
I know, it's like Groundhog Day. Just here.
Hey, we've got something to talk about.
Wait, before we get into it, I have to do this shout out for one of my students because I told him that I would do it. So I got this.
He's going to watch this?
Yeah, I told him it's going to be on YouTube. And you don't have to just worry about him seeing it. Everybody can go see it on YouTube. So feel free to come visit us.
And what you do is you just go to YouTube and you type in Epilepsy Today and do the search, and all our little segments will pop up, won't they?
They will.
They will.
And people are actually watching us, whether it's out of curiosity or just for informational reasons.
You know, it's funny, but I did look, and we're starting to get some hits.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. You like us. You really, really like
No,
us.
I haven't seen any likes. Nobody's liked us. But
It's just you.
they haven't disliked us, though, either.
Well, that's a good thing. Maybe they won't do that just because it's for a good cause that they won't dislike us.
But they're not, yeah, but we're okay.
Yeah, I think
We get up to a couple thousand, maybe we can sell some advertising.
Oh boy, we would probably just think too much of ourselves. But for over the holidays, I did. I had one.
Come on.
His name is Frank. Hi, Frank. And I just had to tell him thank you so much for my lovely necklace that you got me. And he's a really big. That's one of my friends that always talks about epilepsy too. So thank you, Frank. Thank you, Neiman's family. You guys rock, and that's my piece. So come watch us on YouTube.
Okay, good. Okay, but we do want to talk about tonight predicting seizures. What does that actually mean? You know, for some people they have.
Thought we were talking
predicting seizures. Give me the Mega Millions numbers.
I know, right? Then everything would go away.
Yeah, I can deal with the rest of it. Just give me those numbers. Or Powerball. It's a Powerball, isn't it? Powerball.
I don't know. I don't know how to play them. I'm horrible at that. I never get it.
Okay. Can people learn to predict when seizures occur? Now, we were talking a little bit about this because you've had some experience in this area, Margot. So.
Well, I would have to say probably as I've gotten older, I've noticed that I have more of that aura. I wouldn't say, I know that some people say like they get different smells or they might see different things. I wouldn't say that with me. I've noticed that sometimes, like especially, it'll feel like I'm having a really bad headache, or I might get, and this is my excuse, I might get a little mean. No, precious little mean. Anger? That's not true.
No, I can't imagine that for a moment.
Me either.
But I think as I've gotten older, like I noticed that I'll start to have multiple, because I have juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, so it's not always that I'm going into the generalized tonic-clonic seizures, which is the convulsion, so it's more sometimes that I'm jumpy. But what I find is if I'm having them back-to-back, then I'm probably about to have a grand mal or a general tonic-clonic seizure. But, and then I'm just really tired. But what I think is, the interesting part, because I have a dog, my dog Deja, and I think that she knows when I'm not feeling well better than I do, because I'll notice that she'll sit with me all day, and so she'll stay really close. So maybe she's got a better idea of what I look like too. So
that's not that uncommon. There are a lot of people who have dogs who pretty much alert.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know that I do know someone that has their own personal dog, but they're trained, and Deja's just a regular good old dog. I guess she's like a.
That's usually the way it goes.
Well then. But yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to say that. I can feel the way, but sometimes even when I think I may have a seizure, if I'm low on sleep or rest or something, I may feel like I'm jittery, but then it doesn't necessarily mean. So I would have to say, I wouldn't say I was 100% sure of when I was having one, but I feel like I have a better grasp on knowing when one may be coming on. But I still think people that have them, that have those auras, of course, you have to take the good with the bad, but I think that they do have that one up, so at least you can prepare for it.
Yeah. Now, and this article goes on to say that some people, they get they use the term seizure-y. People tend to get seizure-y.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
The jitters?
Describe more having a vague feeling of a seizure coming. Many people just describe this as feeling seizure-y.
I guess I can understand that.
Yeah, I don't
Like
think that's a
more of
bad.
a-
I don't think that's a bad term, you know. But then it goes on to say that some people actually feel that there are things that they can actually do to kind of reverse that situation.
Oh, that's interesting.
That, it isn't like maybe the barn door's open, but the horse isn't out of the barn yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It just didn't know we were going to farm animals, but that's cool. Yeah, okay. It's like barnyard door open. That sounds, okay. But yeah, so the horse has yet to escape.
Yeah.
The cows have yet to graze.
The rooster has yet to crow.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
but
but-
it just, yeah, you started it. But yes, I get it. I get it.
And I got the last word in too. I feel good about it. Now, but saying that some people can, through biofeedback, through meditation, and other types of action, maybe prevent that seizure from actually reaching its full potential. Okay. Now, do you find that too? That if you begin to feel seizure-y or kind of shaky, that you can kind of draw back and say, hey, wait a minute, I got to relax, I got to compose myself, and
I usually just go back to sleep if I have that choice, just because I feel like the sleep helps me.
okay.
And I don't know if it's just like I don't know, but it just makes it seem like it feels better. And then I had a doctor tell me one time when I was having that seizure-y feeling, that I could take like a corn syrup or sugar or like honey and mix it in water, and it would kind of bring, not like to juice it up, but in a sense like it gives more of those, it helps your brain kind of get back on track.
Oh, really?
And so, and I mean, who knows? I don't know if it seems to work. It has worked for me where it seems like I've really had those feelings and I started to be real cautious, like should I leave home? Should I go to work or do that things? And I've done that, and like you said, not that it resets it, but it feels like it gives a little more control, that balancing out whatever's going on upstairs.
No, I think you're right. And I think there are different things that different people may do in order to kind of reset.
And I would probably say if I'm starting to really be, so I guess now that we have this new word, seizure, I can use that one. But after I feel like, because I always say jumpy.
You learn something every time.
You do. I'm telling you, everything is a teachable moment.
Yeah.
But I would say that, like sometimes I feel like even if my eating habits aren't right, like sometimes I feel better after I eat. But I would have to say, ideally, going back to sleep is really what's helpful for me. At least that's what I've noticed. And then one thing I think for anybody with epilepsy, and I know that that's one thing that they talk about all the time, is really learning how to eliminate your stress levels. Really learning how to balance it out, take what's important and leave the other pieces behind to make sure that you keep yourself safe and healthy. So, I think that there are things that you can do to prevent, to be preventive way before you get that seizure-y feeling. It's just about, and this is something that I work with, just with my own daily life, being able to find out what to prioritize to make life better for you. So, you got to take care of yourself and not pushing yourself too. Like if you're having those feelings, then just step back and realize that I got to take care of me. Everything else will be all right, so you don't have one of those unfortunate consequences of either hurting yourself or any of those pieces. Because after I had that seizure, if I felt jumpy or if I didn't, I won't even push it. Nothing else is more important but me and my health, and I don't want any more dental or doctor bills, so I'll just lay in the bed and feel better about it. So, I always feel, I mean, and it's weird to say that, but I always feel good for people that do have the idea of being able to predict.
Oh, yeah. And I think they feel better. They feel good about it too. You know, it's nice to know than to have something such as a seizure come on without any kind of forewarning or even inkling that it's going to take place.
And then you can have, if you have that opportunity, you can make others aware so they can help you with that first seizure, that first aid for seizures.
Yeah.
You know, or if there's someone around, but just, you know, it definitely has its pluses, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's an important thing. You know, and one of the things that they talk about is that in order to really discover whether or not your seizure feelings are, you know, valid or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what you need to do is you need to start actually making notations as to when you're getting those inklings, or you're getting those auras, or you're getting those seizure feelings, so that later on you can go back and kind of see, you know, what maybe caused that seizure feeling, and not only what caused it, but what did I do to eliminate it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or what happened that it ended up being a seizure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there's something I can do and that's the way that you can kind of begin to develop maybe a game plan.
Mm-hmm. And I am so bad at that, and I think that's one thing that everyone says, keep a diary of your seizures.
You've not been keeping a seizure calendar?
Who, what? Me?
Yes, you.
Calendar?
Seizure calendar.
Yeah, I have. No, I have not. And I know I need to do better. Even that's what I mean. Like, I learned things. I know. I just like to put it behind me. I was jumpy that day.
No, doggone it.
All right. Well, it's a new year, new calendar. I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll start.
You better, okay?
Tomorrow.
Okay. You want to be getting a daily tweet?
Ignore. Margo, did you start your calendar? Wrong number. So yeah, that's awesome. So self-prediction.
That's important. That's important. Self-prediction, and also keeping that calendar, because it's the calendar that's going to tell you whether or not these feelings are valid or not. You know?
Yeah. Okay, good point. Point well taken.
And I think it would be wonderful. This would, you know, your suggestion that, you know, it's a new year, this would be a great resolution for somebody who has epilepsy. No,
What are you talking about?
not just you, not just you.
But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, some people, the new year is definitely meant for so many different pieces. But if you do have it, you can always start afresh and new. And, you know, everybody puts that component on it being with January and the new year. But I think that when you make the choice of starting something new, whether it's today or June or something like that.
Still the first day of the rest of your life, right?
New day, new way.
Yeah, and I agree. So, but I think this is something that, you know, you might want to think about, and you might want to approach. Yeah.
Get a calendar or get a journal so Tom doesn't come looking for you, friends. My friends with epilepsy.
Well, it's not just me. Okay, it's you know, your doctor says, well, let's see your seizure calendar, and you go, oh, I left it at home.
That's what I'm gonna say too when I go.
Oh, darn it!
I brought every book but that one. I'll fax you the information.
But look, if you want to learn more about seizure calendars, or you want to learn more about epilepsy, definitely you can talk to us at 513
721
2905,
05.
or you can talk to us electronically through
www.epilepsy
epilepsy- or hyphen ohio.org. Yes. So please do so. Good evening and welcome to Epilepsy.
Today!
Hey, here we are, Martha.
We're back again!
It
We
feels
just-
like we never left.
Hey, you know what? We don't change clothes. Hey, you know
Hey, this is all I got. It's been a bad year so far. What the
Santa
heck?
didn't bring you any toys or clothes?
No.
You must have got a bunch of clothes. Were you bad?
You had to ask?
Nobody likes me. Everybody.
That's the way it was. But we've got important stuff to talk about.
All right, well, let's get to it.
There's a new medication. Santa didn't bring any clothes, but he did bring a new medication.
He brought drugs! Good ones, good drugs, good drugs. We don't want to go around throwing our glasses anymore or anything. These are good drugs for seizures.
No. Stop it. That's really not very
See?
nice.
There it is. I'm keeping mine on. I'm going to have
Not very
self-control.
nice. Now, there's a new medication that's just recently been approved by the FDA.
Okay.
The Food and Drug Administration. That particular medication is known as Aptiom. A-P-T-I-O-M. Aptiom.
Aptiom.
You think that would be an N at the end,
Yeah.
but it's an M.
It's like curriculum. I always think curriculum should have it in, but you know, it doesn't.
Well, I understand. But it's also known as, you're good with these big chemical names.
Oh boy.
Eslicarbazine.
Eslicarbazine.
That's
Come on, we can't be out here like this on these city streets telling everybody we can't pronounce this stuff.
Aptiom.
Aptiom. That's what we're
That's
gonna
why
go
they got
with.
such a nice little simple name.
Yes,
Because
this is why, yeah.
Eslicarbazine.
Eslicarbazine.
Acetate. Okay, now,
Acetate.
this particular medication is, it's approved for treatment of partial seizures, the most common type of seizure activity in people with epilepsy. And,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I didn't know that that was that partial epilepsy was,
most common.
really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
especially among adults.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that really is.
Yeah.
I'm not even playing.
Well, you learn something.
Yay!
Stick with me, honey.
All right.
The most common side, this was shown to be very effective in reducing the frequency of seizure activity. It's used as an add-on. Okay, so you got your existing anti-epileptic medication.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe it's not doing the greatest job in the world. You're still having some breakthrough seizures and stuff like that. So what they'll do is they'll take this particular drug, this Aptiom, and they'll add that on to your existing drugs and maybe get better seizure control. Okay, so that's what they do.
That's good.
So yeah, it's out there. It's brand new here in the United States, and they're finding that it's got some. All medications have side effects. Some of the common side effects reported in patients receiving Aptiom include dizziness, drowsiness, nausea, headache, double vision, vomiting, a partridge in a pear tree, fatigue, and loss of coordination.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
These and other side effects and recommendations are for monitoring are described in the drug labeling. Okay, but the important thing of it is that it's a newer medication that's out there to control seizures. There are things that are happening in the wonderful, wacky world of epilepsy
That's right.
that continue to give us hope, that continue to provide more options for people who have epilepsy and aren't getting perfect control over their seizures, or if they are experiencing a lot of side effects.
And I think that that's great. I mean, since I've been on the show, it's just been amazing to see how many different drugs have been approved, and we haven't had the opportunity to really revisit to see how those medications are working with people, but just to have the option. I mean, when you think about it initially, maybe there was just like one or two drugs to choose from, and now having multiple types that would fit, whether it's a person's lifestyle or anything else that becomes a part of that. It's amazing. So I really do appreciate all of the people that go in and do this type of just these studies and the research, because they really do help a lot of people out, like myself. So I appreciate that hard work that they do.
You know, and you know, part of the stuff that gets done, and part of the reason that there are these, that we're seeing this forward momentum as far as epilepsy treatment is concerned, is due to the Epilepsy Foundation of America.
That's
Because
awesome.
they, you know, and you know, they don't pay me to give them a plug, okay? I wish they did. But the fact of the matter is that they do fund a lot of research, okay? They also fund research in the sense that they help newly trained physicians get into the field of neurology and also epilepsy.
Nice.
Okay, so what they do is they kind of plant those seeds, you know, by providing them scholarships, okay? And they're not a whole lot of money, but it's enough money that it allows a promising physician, okay, to look at the world of epilepsy and say, hey, you know what? I kind of like this stuff. This is kind of interesting. I think I'll, you know, I think I'll spend my efforts and my time actually working in this particular field.
And you know, that just brings up the whole thing, like when we were talking to Brian on one of our previous shows and thinking about just how he was telling us about his journey from starting in one thing and being involved in that and then moving on to having more interest in the brain or that neurology piece and all of that. So it's, you know, it's always interesting how you can start somewhere and then your journey leads you to somewhere else. So having that incentive to, maybe you didn't even think about neurology or that part of epilepsy, and to know how many people are affected by it. I mean, it seems like anytime I share with someone that I'm either talking about epilepsy or awareness, I would have to say, there hasn't been one time that someone said, that hasn't said to me, or they have said to me, I should say, I know somebody or someone in my family has epilepsy. Or so it is something that I continue to say anytime we're on the show, that it continues to be a rippling effect that really affects us all. So it's important, you know, to think about how not you're only helping yourself, but the other people that are in your communities and just worldwide. So, you know, way to go, everybody.
Yeah, and so, you know, but the point being, okay, that, you know, there are people out there that are plugging away, trying to improve the life of people who have epilepsy and those around those individuals, okay? And that improves all of our lives, you know. The other thing of it is that Aptium is out there. If, in fact, you're not satisfied with what's happening as far as your medications are concerned at this particular point in time, maybe they're not controlling your seizures, it's something for you to look into, okay? So you need to ask your doctor about that. Okay?
And you know what? This is another reason that people should watch us, because we talk about so many different drugs. You should be able, like, if you're thinking about these things or you have questions, because we're talking about it, make sure that you talk to your neurologist or your epileptologist about these things to see if there are options for you.
Yeah.
So we're not just out here having fun. We actually have some really good information. So
Every
take
once in a
that.
while.
Yeah, we try to, you know, switch it up a little bit.
You can't, yeah.
Not too much. But the majority of what we talk about is definitely pieces that you can take away and find out more information. And if you need information about or getting a neurologist or learning more about an epileptologist,
You can call us at 513
721
29
05.
or 1-877 804 2241 through that
Ah, that's monkey.
curveball
Yeah. Oh, let's just put the monkey wrench in there.
Or you can contact us at www.hyphen
Epilepsy Ohio. .org.
Okay, good. There's one other thing before we move on to other subjects. There's a medication known as ONFI, ONFI, which has also recently been introduced into the into the United States market. And I think it's been maybe a couple years, okay? But there's been an indication that this particular medication, it's also known as clobazam, okay? But there's been some data that's been collected, because what the FDA does, they collect data on medications as people use them, okay, to get the experiences. That's how come they get this list that, you know, dizziness, tiredness, you know, the side effects in that case. That's how they find them out, because people report them, physicians report them to them. Now, there's been some reports of a syndrome known as Stevens-Johnson syndrome that sometimes shows up with Onfi, with this clobazam. And this has just recently emerged, this information. And what this is this is a very bad rash that a person gets, and it can cause damage not only to the skin, blistering, holes, things such as that, but also it can cause damage to internal organs.
Oh my.
Okay, so this is kind of a deadly type of a reaction that this medication can have.
Oh my.
Now, I don't want to unduly alarm anybody.
Don't be alarmed. There's some stuff out there giving out rashes and blisters, tearing your bodies up. But don't worry about it. It's okay. Yes, it's too late. But yes,
You just had to do that, didn't you?
the sky is falling. The sky is falling.
Gosh, God, I swear.
Bam!
You know.
So don't be alarmed, but take into consideration the knowledge.
No more caffeine for you.
I don't even. Yeah, I did have a Pepsi. Boing, boing, boing.
Okay, but here's the point.
All right, Tom Cruise.
The point is, okay,
Yes, back
that
to-
usually this particular side effect shows up within a month of the person initiating their treatment for this. Okay? So it doesn't, you know, if you're already on this and you haven't seen it, there's a very, very slim chance that this is going to happen to you.
And then everybody is affected by different medicine, different ways. I think, like you said, some of those main side effects, but you know, different people can have those different reactions. But my question is, with all of these different names, who's coming up with these names? The FDA?
I don't know, no. They pay people money to do this. This is the gig we need to get.
I got some great names for this stuff, but all of these other things
I'm telling you. Well, you know, we could have our own office, you know, our own little door. They would probably even come and pick us up.
I'm ready for a driver.
And drive us to the office, and we could sit around all day.
And make up different
You
names
know.
for drugs. Shimmy, shimmy, time. That's the new one out.
You know, order,
Supercalifragilistic. Like,
you know,
yeah.
order oodles of Starbucks and sit around and.
I'm not a Starbucks fan. I'm sorry. I'm just not
Oh,
though.
we figure something out.
Okay.
Okay.
More of a potato pancake now, you know.
Izzy's in Starbucks, and we just sit around in there and come up with these names. That would be great. I could.
Yeah, I'd even do overtime.
I could deal with that.
More drugs, please. More names.
But I you know, the Onfi thing, I think it's kind of.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird.
that is.
But you know, they do, and maybe on the side we could do cars too.
You are all over the place right now.
No, we could, you know, names for cars, all kinds of stuff. Maybe.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going. I thought we were getting a car dealership on the side, figure out names for drugs. I thought we were just trying to do a
Margo
whole
and
thing.
Tom's naming. Names are us.
Need a name for your drug drug, call Margot and Tom. We'll give
Well,
you
whatever
one.
it is. We don't care what it is. We'll name it.
This is why no one takes us seriously.
Okay. How do we get there?
I don't know,
It's
but
your fault.
so new drugs, let us know. If
Here's another one. Here's another one.
oh, another drug, awesome.
We're not done yet, but we're almost there.
We should have another segment just called All About Drugs. You know how they have All About Sports?
Yeah.
We could do All About Drugs because we have about 75 drugs every time we do this.
I know. Well, this is important, I think.
It is. No, not at all to
sorry.
say it's not important.
I think you're.
No, I'm not. Don't try that. I'm not at all. I'm just saying how we do news, weather, and sports. We can have all. Let's move on to the next drug.
Throw down.
Let's just go to the next drug.
That's what we ought to name this. Throw down.
Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Throw down.
Okay, here we go. Okay, there's a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled trial for diazepam auto-injectors.
Does that have to do with our cars?
Yeah, that's the thing that feeds the gas into
It just got real quiet, like, I didn't know. I was thinking, okay, well, let's find out more about this auto-injector.
No, but see, this is, okay. What they're going to do is they're going to try to use this, okay, in order to stop nonstop seizures, okay? When a seizure lasts a long period of time, usually longer than 5 minutes, though sometimes physicians will prescribe something called Diastat, which is a gel form of Valium that is administered rectally, okay? Now, there are certain problems with rectal administration that we don't need to go any further.
That was my whole side I looked to you about injecting through the through that back door, the barn door.
No. Yeah, right. But so what is happening is they're doing a study with this, but this is an auto-injector that basically what they would do is they inject it into maybe your thigh or maybe your arm or another large muscle group.
Oh, like an EpiPen.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they're doing the studies on this thing, okay, which is really, really promising. So yes, exactly. It's exactly like an EpiPen, except it's to stop nonstop seizure activity.
Well, I don't think I need one of those because I have an EpiPen, and if I had an auto-injector, who knows what I'd be sticking in stuff with. Epinephrine, auto-injector,
Yeah.
Hopefully some will be offside.
Okay. But this is something that they're doing, okay, and I think it's great. This is going to be this is in process, okay, and we're going to see what happens with this. This might be very much a positive type of thing happening again in the world of epilepsy, okay? Another way of treating seizure activity and preventing from people having to go to an emergency room. You know, because at the 5-minute mark, what we say is usually if a person has a convulsive seizure or a tonic-clonic seizure that lasts longer than 5 minutes, they need to go to emergency room. Or if they have one, it stops and then they have another one on its heels. Okay, so if they have a series of them, they're supposed to go to an emergency room. This can prevent that emergency room visit. As you well know, emergency room visits are extremely
Expensive.
Yeah.
And long.
And long.
Drawn out.
Yeah. And then
Great bedside manner.
And then at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's the definite place you want to be, especially when you're in the emergency room with all of the other wonderful characters in there.
At 4 a.m.
Exactly.
On a Friday night or on a Saturday morning.
It's a party up in there. So with this, does this mean with this drug, does it mean that it's gonna just stop the seizure, or does it calm it down?
That's what they're
looking
exploring.
Okay.
And they're looking at the fact that it's going to stop the seizure activity.
That would be
Prevent the
awesome.
person from having to take that trip to the emergency room.
That would be great.
Because a lot of times, you do that 2 or 3 times with a child in a month, man, you're not making your house payment.
Right, and
Yeah.
I have actually known, when I was doing a lot of information for, like taking people's stories and their story about how they've dealt with epilepsy in their life. And there was a woman, and she said that at one point it was like they went to the emergency room over 50 times just because of so much seizure activity.
Yeah.
And because, and I think that that's the other part that helps with all of these different, with all of the different medications and the more work that they go into with the research, because at the time, they didn't say that her daughter had epilepsy. They weren't sure what was going on. So, that can be a really stressful situation when you're not for sure why the seizure activity or the seizures are happening. And then you're going all the time and you're still getting that same answer or the result. So
The same song and dance is what it ends up being.
Yeah.
You're not even getting the daggone answer. If you could get an answer, you could kind
you'd
of
stop going.
maybe move on.
Right.
And
find that other option. So that would be awesome. Even for, just like we talked about with the auras, if you could just have that thing, and hopefully this will be open to not just those, ongoing seizures, but maybe just overall in the epilepsy family, to be able to put that to an end, at least not to cause it, because it's such a traumatic situation, and it takes so much out of you when you have one, and to be able to just totally dismiss that.
And I think it takes so much out of the entire group, out of the entire family, and all your significant others, because it takes a toll on you physically, okay, but it's also taken a true toll on everybody else emotionally, because they're thinking, oh my gosh, is she going to be okay? Is everything going to turn out all right? So it becomes an incredibly stressful situation for everybody involved.
And especially thinking about young children.
Oh, yeah.
I was just looking at some of the numbers as far as their subjects, and between 2, 5, 6, and 11, and greater than 12, that's a lot of, those ages, and especially between 2 and 5, I can only imagine, especially working with that. I know that it is stressful for any age, but to see your child go through that at such a young age and not have any idea, or really to be able to grasp it, you have to take on that emotional distress for them. So, that is, that's a rough road.
And I think that's, you bring out an important point. One of the major feelings that people have when one of their loved one has seizure activity is that feeling of helplessness. Because the thing you want to do the most is to make it stop. And the thing you can't do is make it stop.
Right.
So this might provide another option for folks that we can actually begin to make it stop. The diastat works fine for kids, okay? But, there aren't a whole lot of adults who are going to let you do that, or, you get in high school, hey, Mom, guess what? I'm not going to school.
Turn around, dear.
I'm not going to school with this. This ain't going to happen,
Yeah, they need a more adult
type of administration.
Yeah.
And this may very well be the answer to that. So let's hope so. And
Let's hope
what we
so.
promise to do is we will keep our vast viewing audience actually abreast of this, and let you know how this turns out with this auto-injector for diastat.
Definitely.
Okay? And if you want to talk to us, or you want to contact us at the Epilepsy Foundation, you can do that at 1-877.
205. No, that's not it. 807.
1-877-804.
804. Why are you
2241.
getting upset with me? No, that's not it.
No, I wasn't getting upset.
We need to just put it up there so that we don't have to guess. How are we going to be advocates and still don't know the number?
I got to admit, I did that kind of deliberately. I
I thought we were supposed to be a team.
Or you can call us at 513
721
29
05. I know that number.
or you can contact us electronically in the information age at www.epilepsy
Dash.
Ohio.org.
Ohio.org.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome to Epilepsy
Today!
Here we are. Yes, it's cold outside.
It is.
Yeah, very cold.
Yes.
It was extremely cold. And there's that white stuff all over the place.
They call that winter, yes.
Yes, they do. That's the
When
word.
there aren't any leaves on the trees.
There's no leaves on the trees. There's no grass growing or anything. It's kind of lousy.
Yeah.
But it's not too early to start thinking about camp.
Camp Flame Catcher.
Camp Flame Catcher.
And then let's talk a little bit about that and who Camp Flame Catcher serves and what they actually do. Because some people may not be aware, but with having this information, we are giving you the opportunity to take advantage. So let's tell them a little bit about it.
Yes. Okay. Camp Flame Catcher is for kids who have epilepsy. Yes,
We have something for us.
You're right. I agree with you. It's the only epilepsy-specific camp in the greater Cincinnati area.
That is,
And it's cool.
Yeah.
Man, it's cool stuff.
Yeah.
Last year I think we had over 70 campers.
wow, really?
70 kids
That's a nice
from
turnout.
age about 7 to age 18
Oh,
who come
good.
out, okay, and spend a week. I think it's a little bit less than 7 days.
Because it depends on which one you go to, too.
It's
Like your summer one is for a while.
The summer one is the week-long one,
Mhm.
okay? Now, we have a spring camp that's like a weekend. Okay, so that's like 3 days. You come on a Friday and you leave on a Sunday afternoon. But the whole thing of it is that here you are, you're at a camp, okay? So you're having fun. You're, paddling the canoe, you're riding the horses, you're shooting the arrows, you're hiking, you're doing all those neat things.
I just think it's really, I'm glad that they get to do the arrows, but some of that stuff just doesn't seem really.
Well,
and I think that it's great that they have that archery opportunity, but I guess I'm just always thinking, because I'm
Oh, you're just a girl.
Well, no, I like that, but I'm just thinking you have a seizure, that's something gone wrong.
Well, but see, that's the thing. We've got somebody with you,
Well, I know.
and we use those arrows with the little suction cups on.
Oh, well, then we're okay. That makes me feel a lot better. Okay, yes.
Just for you.
Archery with sponge, with the suction cups. Yep.
But okay, so we did. So they do fishing. They have crafts.
And they get the zip line. That's one of the
Yeah.
reasons I want to go.
I'm telling you. But they have all these things there, and they just have fun. The other part of this is that they're with kids who have epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of times, what we find is that it's the first opportunity that some of these children are having to actually interact with other kids who have the same thing they do.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not alone.
And I think that builds a really good support system, because even with the friends that they make or they gather with at the camp, they can always take away and still have those relationships and bonds with individuals that do understand. I don't think you ever get old enough to not have someone support you, and especially, just with myself knowing the friends that I have that have epilepsy, or sometimes we go through, it's just a different feeling, because they really do understand how you feel or what you're going through, some of those different dynamics, if I'm different, or I can't get to do these certain things. So on the flip side of them being able to do all of those fun things there, whether you're doing archery with suction cup arrow or whatever, to have those things and then to enjoy it with other people that understand, I think is great. Like, you don't
To
have
make
that
those
shame.
connections.
Yeah.
That basically can even be lifelong kind of things.
Mhm.
Because kids are, it isn't, kids are texting all the time, they're phoning, they're emailing, they're twittering, tweeting.
I was gonna say it's tweet, but I wasn't gonna,
But I mean, they're doing all those things.
Yeah.
So they're, they're making those face-to-face connections, and then they're continuing those connections throughout their lives. So it's a huge type of thing, and it's a whole lot of fun. Okay, but it's therapeutic too. Okay?
Definitely.
The other part of this is that it gives mom and dad a little bit of a rest. They get a break. They get some together time.
And that's always nice.
Yeah, without having to, sleep with one eye open, worrying whether Johnny's going to have a seizure tonight.
And you know what? As I think about it, when I was in summer camp,
You went to camp?
Yeah, about 2 years ago, Just got to be an adult. But I remember that this boy, he had a seizure, and we were at camp and no one knew what to do, and that was still in that phase of go get the spoon. And when he came out, everybody was just looking at him weird. They were calling him all of these different names because they were ignorant to the fact of what was going on with him. So, I mean, it's always great to educate people, but I really do believe if you have a child that has epilepsy and they need that type of camaraderie to come out and to be able to be embraced by others, because I think that kids are already so cruel and dealing with things like bullying and all of those other components. Like, you need those safe havens, and I think that the Camp Flame Catcher is definitely one. So just hope everybody comes out and takes advantage of it that can. And you can always find out more information by dialing 513-2905.
I was just thinking, I'm going to interrupt you here for a second. I was just thinking that was wonderfully put.
Thank you.
You're right. Yeah, you did it right.
I give my own gold stars.
That's good. You deserve one for that.
Thank you.
Or you can contact us at
Epilepsy.
www.hyphen.
I thought I was going to get dash in. Ohio.
.org. Yeah. Or you can get us at 1-877-804-2241. So any of those ways you can find out about Camp
Flame Catcher.
Flame Catcher.
Yes.